Right, so good morning from sunny Bolton, and today going down to the woods to have breakfast on the fire and to have a good chill out and a bit of a rest and a bit of a recoup and a bit of a think. So I've not been down to these woods for a good while because I've been busy trying to organise community food growing things. So it's a lovely morning now, and it's around about 6:15. Very quiet, apart from the dawn chorus of the birds. So yeah, it's a nice day, and I'll come back to you in about 5 minutes when we get to the woods. I'll see you shortly. Okay, so we've got off the main road, and it's still a bit noisy because we've got the A666 running above the subway that we're just about to walk through in a few seconds. And like I say, it's been a while since I've been down here, and everything's very lush, as you'd expect for late spring. And sorry about the noise, and that should soon subside. So there's the old subway, so we cross through this subway, and it's just pure woodlands on the other side. It's a bit like going through a magical gateway in a mythology book. And here we are, still noisy of course because of the road above. But absolutely beautiful, as I always say when I come down to these woods. Right, so let's press on. Quite dark here because of the leaf growth, and also because it's mainly a north-facing woodland, this bit that I'm cutting through. And there's the A666 there. Not that anybody wants to see that particularly, with folk going about the daily business, going to work and doing the shopping, etc. So yeah, what a beautiful day. So for the particular bit of woods that I'm going to, it's about a 5-minute walk. So catch up with you when we get there. And here we are at the woods. I know we're only a few metres off the road, so I'm sure sounds will change as I walk further into the woods, with the sound of myriad birds becoming dominant over the sound of car engines and horns. Beautiful time of the year to be in the woods. So let's cut up this way. And lots of saplings about, and Himalayan balsam as per usual, and the odd daisy. It's got a bit quieter, which is always a bonus, although there's still some idiot revving his car in the distance. And I've not been down this path for a while. I don't think it's used that often. And there's been a bit of tree fall. And this particular path runs along the banks of the river. So, just having a look round, see if there's anything of any interest since I last came here. One thing that is for sure, there's an awful lot more growth in these plants. And down there we have the river. And it's actually not a bad spot for a quiet brew. But we'll have a walk around for a few more minutes till we find somewhere where I can make a fire. I know I keep saying it, but what a beautiful morning. And what a beautiful place to be as the world begins to wake. And I'm sure that if people did this once a week, if they come down to wild places and spent an hour or so here, not thinking, absorbing the woodland vibes, listening to nature, listening to the birds, then I think we can safely say that there might well be a lot less prescription drugs being taken for some mental health conditions. I mean, I've long advocated, how can I put it, chilling out in nature. If things have been a bit stressful or on top, I've been doing this for decades. Go and find your nearest woods or some fields, or if it requires more extreme measures, pack a rucksack and disappear into the wilderness. And you almost always return rejuvenated, full of energy and wide-eyed. But just look at this. I mean, this is 10 minutes away from a built-up urban area, and it's like this for many people, really. You've just got to find the wild places and go and explore them. Right, so without further ado, let's go and look for somewhere to put the kettle on and make a little fire. Right, well, after a 5-10 minute walk around the woods, we found this secluded area here where we've got fire going for a brew and some breakfast, and quite easy to get. There's a lot of dry stuff about, and I bought a few dry twigs from the back garden at home. So we've got the billy can on there, and we're going to have a brew shortly. And just pan round. It's a lovely bit of the woods, this. This is off the path. The path's down there somewhere at the bottom. But we don't particularly care where the path is at the moment. So let's get on with it. Get this fire sorted out a little bit more and get some breakfast and a brew on the go. And here we are, a couple of minutes later, and we have our cup of tea and our oat bran porridge. So we're just going to let this fire go down. I only build a tiny little fire because it never takes long to boil a bit of water in the billy can. So we'll just let that go down, and then I'll have my porridge and my cup of tea, and I'll just sit quietly listening to the birds, waking up the woodland, and just take it all in. Feeling so blessed to have a woodland like this close by, as I always say in my videos. And here we are, all packed up and ready to go. So I've had a brew, some porridge, and we followed the old bushcraft philosophy of leave no trace, so you can't see where the fire's been. I've not left any rubbish, not that I ever bring any out with me. And yeah, I've had a lovely hour here, just sat listening, absorbing, taking in, thinking occasionally, eating my porridge and drinking my tea. And it's not a bad spot, this. I always try and find spots away from the path. You don't want to startle people. You see some 6'2" bloke sat there with a fire and making himself some food if it's somebody walking the dog in the early hours of the morning. So I always try and find a secluded spot. Plus I'm not likely to get any mither or earache off any officialdom if they start moaning and whinging that you're not allowed to do what I do here, which is highly likely. So yeah, that was a great hour. I'm going to make my way back as usual. I've got tons of stuff to be getting on with when I get home. More food gardening, food growing. As you know, we're in the grips of a cost of living crisis, and I always try and grow a lot of food anyway, but this year it's being ramped up even further. I don't see why I should spend the bulk of my spare money on food when basically somebody somewhere is profiting quite a lot from it. So I'd rather grow my own. It's healthier, there's more nutrients in it, you know exactly where it's come from. So yeah, right, let's go then. Right, so rather than going on the paths, we're slowly cutting through this woodland, which is a much better experience than going on the path. And it seems to make an awful lot of sense that woodlands and natural and wild places are more human habitat than offices, shopping precincts, multiplexes and all the other structures and falsifications that we've created. We're meant to be inside ecosystems and wild places. It's what we are. Sure enough, we're civilized to a degree, but at the end of the day, we're animals. We're still animals, albeit with a thinking capacity. And since we don't know a huge amount about what goes on inside the brains of other animals, we can't really say that we're superior to them, just that we've got a different skill set. But we are still very much a part of nature. I've acknowledged this for decades. I really don't have a problem with it, and basically it's part of celebrating being human. When we visit these places and we connect with them, we're connecting with the human that goes back many, many thousands of years. There's nothing to say that we can't still be technological creatures and all the rest of it, but I think it's important that we acknowledge where we've come from. And as I've said on a few occasions, I do believe that quite a lot of mental ill health is down to how we live our lives in the modern world. Trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole. Working too much, doing work that isn't good for us, getting in debt. Doing things that we're cajoled into doing instead of actually sitting down and deciding what we want to do. And coming into nature and just sitting and doing nothing is a way of redressing these balances, and you don't have to go over stuff relentlessly in your head. You don't have to do that at all. A lot of the time I don't even think when I come down here, and that's the beauty of it. You're not thinking, you're not clogging your mind up full of the detritus of civilization in the modern world. So, always worth thinking about our relationship with nature, with our provider. And as we can see, this rather thin path, I know the road's not too far off. So I'll bid ye all a farewell, and thanks for watching. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to build it up and make much better content now. I've got some reasonable filming equipment, and it just leaves me to say, look after each other, help each other out. A better world lies ahead, and one that we have to engage in and make with love in our hearts. Over and out.